Hey guys, today we are doing the review of Black Ops 4. This review has been held off a little bit more than a lot of my other reviews. I did one on Fallout 76 and one on Battlefield 5 once I felt that I knew the games were decently into their lifespan. Some bugs were fixed, and some of them were unsavable, some of them were meh, and now I'm on the higher end. If y'all have been watching my channel, this has really helped me gain a footing in the YouTube community. Not a big one, but a little footing, because this has been the game that I've been doing a lot of YouTube on, trying to put a lot of content out, and I really enjoy it, guys, and I'm just really thankful that y'all are watching and supporting me. So, first off, let's get into the actual review of Black Ops 4, and all these are my opinion, and so if you have something you disagree with me on, just put it down in the comments, or send it to me on Twitter, or on Discord if you want to go join that, and I can discuss it with you, and I can respect your opinion, just do it in a respectful way. So, first off, I'm going to start out with the pros of Black Ops 4. First off, before we do get into the game, though, Black Ops 4 was kind of an oddity. Because if you watch the big kind of titans of the industry back when COD was in its heyday, was the Modern Warfare and Black Ops. Both of those were trilogies. Now, you could argue that Black Ops really wasn't a trilogy because World at War was technically had ties to the Black Ops series, but in our hearts, mostly it was a trilogy. And so, nobody really a lot of people were happy when they figured it out, but for a long time we didn't expect to see anything more in the Black Ops series. So it was definitely a surprise when we first started figuring out that we were going to get to see Black Ops 4. So, now let's get into it. First off, if y'all followed Call of Duty, there was a very bad streak starting around, I would say probably the worst of it was Infinite Warfare, of exosuits, which allowed you to jump extremely high and do. Now, there weren't bad ones. Personally, I like Black Ops 3 and play it still because it has a good system, but there are some that were overpowered, so it was definitely nice to see that in World War II and Black Ops 4 we did not see any sort of exosuit. You do have certain you have certain smooth movements as to where you can jump and slide and do, but you don't have like jumping 4 stories high. So it's definitely something interesting, and I definitely do like that they took that away and then added in more fluid motion in kind of its place to make you still feel like you could move fluidly, but you didn't have to be jumping 14 foot in the sky. Also, the gunplay in this game feels really good. I don't feel like there's any weapon that I can use that I'm just completely unable to get a kill with, which is pretty nice compared to certain guns like the Executioner in Black Ops 2 and weapons like that that were just completely underpowered and had the inability to do a lot of good. So, I definitely do like that they have good weapon balance and good gunplay. Now, of course, there are overpowered guns, but there's not as many of them, and it's not nearly as big of a gap as there are in certain games. So, I would definitely say that these guns have good gunplay. All of them feel unique and feel fun to use, and they also have a good weapon balance. You can know how you're doing and what you're doing. So, it's very fun. Also, I personally never got into zombies much. I played some of the older maps with some buddies and did that, but I didn't really get into COD games until World War II. I took one look at World War II zombies and was not interested because I went back and actually played older games that kind of got me interested, but I still didn't really get it. But then I got to start with Black Ops 4 was the first game that I bought when it came out, and so that's I'm kind of a young Call of Duty player compared to a lot of them that do YouTube. I've played games, but I just didn't start buying them. I would just always go to my buddy's house and play them. I never really had consoles that could run the game or stuff like that. So, it's definitely one of those interesting deals of it was very fun for me to start getting to play them because I actually had better hardware that could run Call of Duty games and stuff like that. So, I definitely do enjoy it. But this is my first big Call of Duty. I played the old games, I played stories with my buddies, and I remember them, and they were very fun, but I just never had it at my house. I would always go to my buddy's house and play for a couple hours. So, I do have memories of the old COD games, but this is the first one that was in my house, and I do enjoy that. So, I definitely found it cool because I got to start out with the Chaos line, which I do enjoy because it's something interesting for zombies, because if you try and follow the story campaign of the older zombies, it's very interesting and intriguing, but it's just so filled with you can tell that they weren't really going to try and make a massive story. They were just making fun maps and adding little stories, so it became so complex that I think it's still a really fun thing to have, but it is very complex. So I do like starting out with the chaos storyline because it helps me understand it. I also feel like a lot of the challenges and things aren't completely undoable. Like I figured out how to make Pack-a-Punch and do. I figured a lot of that out by myself. I did learn a little bit from some buddies, but a lot of us, we weren't looking up videos. We were trying to learn it by ourselves. And I did enjoy that, and I do find that cool. So I would definitely say those are 4 big things I do enjoy. Also, I will give a quick mention to Blackout. I'm not a Blackout player. I burned myself out on games like PUBG back earlier. So I kind of burned myself out. I'm not as big of a Battle Royale player, but I played some rounds with some friends, and I've really enjoyed it. I feel like if they would fix the lag, it would be a great thing to play if you do enjoy the game. So I am going to put that as kind of a denote. It's a good, fun game, but it's just something that I don't have a lot of experience with. So now let's get into some more of the cons and bad things that happen with this. First off, the map design isn't amazing. Now, a lot of y'all are going to get mad at me because there are a lot of remastered maps that are very iconic and very fun to play. Now, that's not what I'm talking about. The remastered maps are amazing. They hold a special place in my heart because I remember the first game that I played a lot was Black Ops 2, playing a lot of gun game and party games with my friends at their houses. So I do enjoy it, and I do enjoy seeing these Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 maps that I started playing when I started getting into the Call of Duty series. So I would definitely say that I do enjoy those maps, and I'm going to exclude them from this little list that I'm making. I want to talk about the maps that were specifically made for this game. First off, you're going to have several maps. I've done map reviews, and I have talked well about some maps and talked off, but a lot of the base maps I feel like don't really service any type of long-range gunplay. So me, I liked being that more long-range sniper. Yeah, I could maybe get a quick scope or something every so often, but I liked more staying back and taking a shot pretty quick and then moving to another spot, taking a shot. It was fun, but it's not really as practical in this game, so I have to move back more to LMGs and ARs, which saddens me because I practice with sniper rifles a lot, but I'm just still it doesn't connect with me as well. So it is unfortunate that it doesn't really service long-range gunplay, because once you do get on a good streak with something like a Paladin or a Koshka, you can feel that the guns are smooth, but it's just unfortunate that the maps don't service that smooth gunplay. So, secondly, I want to talk about something that got Black Ops 4 in a lot of hot waters was Activision. The Black Ops Pass. If y'all have watched my other videos, I did state that I did buy the Black Ops Pass. However, I bought it for a little bit different reason. I did buy it because in that point in time, I do YouTube. I don't do it a lot, but I do usually a weekly video and try and make a lot of interesting content. So, yeah, it's definitely something that I do it, and it's definitely kind of a special thing for certain people. Now, if you do want just quality game, if you do want some good zombies maps, I would not have any trouble recommending this for you. But multiplayer maps, they're good, but if you watch how COD goes, the multiplayer maps die out too quickly. And that's where I'm kind of going to get into this. If you've been following it, Black Ops did not do the traditional, you can either buy a season pass or map packs. They said it's only season pass. And at first, I don't know if it was just my confusion, but I was afraid that they were going to make it to where if you did not buy the game with the pass, you would not be able to buy it. And they may have changed it, or I may have misunderstood, but that was definitely a scare for me and my friends. So, definitely, it was a very kind of shady system, because a lot of you want to buy map packs, because you may not have the money to drop $50. But yeah, you can drop 10 or 15 to get, okay, well, I'll get this little tiny map pack and get a zombies map and some multiplayer maps and play them for a little while, and if I get some money, yeah, I'll buy the next one. But they only did season pass for $50, which is pretty steep. I mean, if you like Call of Duty games and you like the zombies, I would have no problem recommending it. But personally, if you're just buying it for the multiplayer maps, I would not recommend it. The multiplayer maps feel really good and play really well, in my opinion. But personally, I don't think that it's worth it to spend that much money on something that you're going to be able to play for a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, and then you're going to have difficulty finding servers with that on it. So it's just not really worth it unless you're doing YouTube content or streaming or stuff like that. So it's definitely an unfortunate system. Also, there's been a lot of trouble with lag in the game. If y'all have played the game or seen some of my videos, I've even mentioned it on being bad with lag. The servers for the beta, which I was unable to play because I was really focusing on the Fallout 76 beta, which was a bad move in hindsight. I was told by people who did play the beta that it had way smoother because it did have it had 60 tick servers or 60 hertz servers, which is a lot more smooth gameplay. Well, when the whole game released, all we saw was a cut down 20 tick or 20 hertz servers. So 20 hertz servers are definitely something that you do not want when playing a fast-paced game, because you're going to have lag issues and things like that. Activision did do a little bit of tweaking and did move us up to a 30 hertz server, but personally I wish we could at least get it up somewhere in the 40s or 50s, because that would just really service the gameplay and the speed of a Call of Duty game better. So personally, I feel like if they'll fix some of that, that will make the game better. But lag is a problem right now, and I do hope they fix it. Also, another big controversy that came out with the release of Black Ops 4 was no campaign. And if y'all have played the OG, what I've called the OG campaigns for the Black Ops 4 storyline, I include World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2. Because World at War introduced you to Reznov, who is actually a part of Black Ops 1 and 2, actually a pretty influential part of 1 at least, and also pretty big in 2 if you follow the storyline. So I do include that in the OG because Black Ops 3 did not really mention or do anything for that, did not really follow any of the storyline of Black Ops 1 or 2. They went very far into the future. So yeah, it was unfortunate that they did not put a campaign in, but I see where they were coming from, because unfortunately at this point in time it would be very difficult to kind of rein it back towards a more back towards the storyline that we loved, because in that game it was just so far away that they would have had to make a sequel to Black Ops 3 or tried to kind of push it back towards Black Ops 1, which I feel like they could have done, but I see their point when not doing it. So they did not add a campaign, and that is something I'm sad about. However, they did add a story through the little logs you can get, and they do add you a kind of a cool story, but I don't really find it as interesting and intriguing because you have to do all this stuff to get it. So if you are really hungry for a story and don't mind putting in some work, yes, you can get a story, but if you're like me and just kind of want to be able to go and play a campaign and, for lack of better words, have kind of it laid out in front of you, it's kind of unfortunate. So I do wish they had a campaign, because it makes me connect to my characters more, connect to the areas more, such as in Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1. I felt like those maps, if they were something that I could connect back to a multiplayer spot or something like that, that was interesting for me, and it made me feel a connection. My final con for this game would probably be the lack of secondaries. As y'all know, COD games and secondaries have been kind of hit or miss. There was games like Black Ops 2 where secondaries were dominant. Also Modern Warfare 3, I'm pretty sure, was where the Maraficas and the fully auto M9s or whatever they were, FMG9s, excuse me. Those were really dominant secondaries, and there was a lot of games that had really good secondaries, such like the Python. Now there have also been games such as World War II, Call of Duty World War II, that did not have good amount of secondaries. Now yes, they did add some, like 2 revolvers and a little bit of stuff here and there afterwards, but the main game started with 3 secondary pistols, a melee weapon, and 2 bazookas. I don't feel like that's very fair for a lot of people who do enjoy having secondaries. So I feel like Black Ops 4, did the same they had the same problem. They did not give us a good way of using secondaries, because all you have is the Strife, the RK, and the Mozu. The RK is kind of trying to follow the B23R, but unfortunately in this game with the higher time to kill, it just doesn't work that well. I don't find it as really a good gun. Personally, I prefer the Strife. Now, another disclaimer is, if you do use the Mozu with certain operator mods and attachments, you can make the Mozu into a pretty good accuracy weapon. So if you do want to add make kind of a sniper secondary, you can do it with the Mozu. But most other pistols don't really. The Strife is okay, it can get you out of a tough situation. There's only one launcher and one base melee weapon, one DLC. So it is unfortunate that they didn't add the secondaries, and I figure they will probably be in the supply stream later on. But it is unfortunate that in the base game we did not get more of the secondary to play with. So that's unfortunate, but unfortunate. Well, actually, I'm going to add one disclaimer. There are 2 shotguns in the secondaries, which was also kind of similar to Black Ops 1. Excuse me for making this kind of stop, but there is one that's kind of like a brecci. It's okay. It's got some really stupid mods that personally, in my opinion, should not be on a shotgun because it just makes it just really just amps up the aggravation of that type of semi-auto shotgun. There's also the Mag 12, which is a decent gun, and if you add the right attachments to it, it can be a pretty good gun, but the base Mag is not that good. So, personally, the secondaries just seem underpowered and seem like they kind of need a addition to them. Also, I feel like they should have added more than one launcher, just because, give us some variety. I mean, even in older games, you still had more than one launcher, which always felt nice to me. So, first and finally, I'm going to kind of go to the things that I'd wanted to see fixed for me to really love this game a little more. Is lag, basically higher hertz or tick rate servers. That would be really nice because we would get a good smooth gameplay and all that. And I feel like they should rework the DLC. I know they've kind of already screwed up, and a lot of people are going to say it's too late. But I feel like if they kind of say, okay, we screwed up with the first DLC, the second DLC, hey, maybe we'll release map packs or do something to kind of smooth it over. Or maybe just release some DLC for free, something to try and smooth it over with the community. Because in all honesty, they caught so much flack. I think Activision should bite a bullet to be able to keep some good graces with the hardcore COD fans. And I'm not just saying that because I want some free DLC. I've already paid the money, and I kind of do regret it sometimes. I don't regret it sometimes. It depends on what map I'm playing and what I'm doing. So, I'm not going to say that it's complete. I just want something free, but it's definitely something I think would be smart for them to do to gain some good graces back with some of their fans. Finally, I'm going to kind of give my final rankings. First off, I'm going to give the story a 2 out of 10 because they did give us a story, but it just wasn't that impactful. It was very hidden, and it was very difficult for people to go to and find. Multiplayer, I'm going to give a 6.5 out of 10. It would be higher, but the tick rate servers just absolutely do not service the gunplay, and they hurt us a lot because you'll be in this really good gunfight, might be getting a quad in the middle of a quad, and you'll just lag out and get killed, and that's just very unfortunate. Zombies, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm a little biased on this zombies because it's very well laid out. It's not as, trippy on how to follow the zombies. But it's definitely something very fun to me. Yeah, there's not some of the classics. I do kind of miss Richtofen and Dempsey and Nikolai on some of the maps. I mean, I know they're in Blood, but they're not in the other maps, so I do kind of miss them, but that's okay. Blackout, I'm kind of going to give them an NA because I don't really play enough Blackout to give my fair opinion, but I am going to give it a kind of a word rating instead of a number. I'm going to give it a good if it had better tick rates or without lag, because it's just something that when my buddies play, we all talk about it. We would really love the game more if we just had a more fluid system. So it's something that if they'll fix it, I would definitely say it would be very fun. So that's kind of my total review of Black Ops 4. It's a very fun game if you're looking for a fast-paced first-person shooter. I don't think it's quite as good as the old Black Ops games, but in my fair opinion, it will never. Those games just hold too much of a special part in my, special place in my heart, excuse me. So it's not ever going to beat them, but I would say it's a good one to live up to the name of Black Ops, excuse me. So it's definitely a fun one to have, and I definitely would recommend it if you like a fast-paced Call of Duty style shooter. It's a lot better than the previous games. So I'm about to sign off. Hope you all have a great day, and I'm going to be doing some more content later, but I've been really working hard on this review, so it might take me a little while to recover. Hope you all have a great day, and goodbye.